Alright, boys, we've seen plenty of the other lads in this war, and some of the death dreads, but we hasn't seen who's actually running the show round here. Who's the one that's keeping the boys from fighting each other, and who's keeping the war on its feet? Well, we's about to answer that question. But it's not just one boss, not two bosses, but 7 bosses keeping the show going. Greetings, fellow Gitz. Welcome back to the channel. This is the Git Man speaking, and welcome to the showcasing of all my war bosses, part of my WAAAGH. And yes, it is 7 war bosses. I know it's a little excessive in a way, and I am counting Badruck as a boss since he technically has the war boss keyword now. Now, this isn't all the war bosses, obviously, because if you're noticing the big squigoth in the room, where's Gaz? Well, I'm choosing to not keep him as part of the bog standard bosses, because he's a bit special. He's a bit special on his own. And we'll get to him in another video. But for now, focus is on these Gits right here. We'll probably mostly shun the little Black Reach boss right here, since I already made a video on him, talking about his stuff in particular. So we'll mostly focus on the other bosses here, because they haven't gotten any love and attention yet. So, where to start? How about we start with the simplest and work our way down? And to kick things off, how about good old Badruck? And, well, it's just Badruck. There's no real conversion on him. The main thing that I was striving to do was make his jacket very yellow and purple, because, well, he is still a Bad Moon deep down, with a little Bad Moon glyph on his banner pole, so it'd only be fitting that the flashiest Git would wear the flashiest color, which would be yellow. He looks very, very flashy indeed, all stood atop his chest of teeth, wearing his proud yellow coat into battle that hopefully doesn't get any blood on it once the fighting begins. Oh, I will also state, all of my characters, they do have names. I won't probably remember them right off the top of my head, because I'm terrible at remembering, at least right off the top of my head when it comes to remembering names. But they all do have names, don't worry, they're not like the rest of the boys and the dreads who don't have names because they don't care if they die. We'll skip over Mogark because he's already been seen in the video. And we'll move straight on to old School Gaz, who's been converted slightly. The body has mostly stayed the same along with the pole. But the main difference is the face. I went and snapped off the Assault on Blackreach boss, who right there. I snapped his head off and put it on Gaz's body to make a Warboss and Mega Armor. And this guy's name is Gorcas Khan boss. And he's got that name because he's apparently extra cunning compared to even a regular Blood Axe boss. And in a way to show that, I tried something very different and painted his eyes blue, which I don't know if you'll be able to see on the camera very well, but he does have blue eyes instead of the usual red. And you know what? Since we're sticking with the Mega Armor theme, let's go ahead and get on with the biggest boy in the room. And that is, well, there's a bit of a story behind this guy. He's quote unquote the leader of my WAAAGH, although he still has to consult with the rest of the bosses on the decision, because that's the theme behind my WAAAGH, is that there isn't just one boss who's running the show. There's multiple bosses that's actually keeping the wall rolling. But this is the main boss, because when Gazzy came along, he decided the wall was too disorganized, and so had all the bosses fight each other in a match of, well, punch each other till you either give up or you die. And he won, obviously, and quite resoundingly as well. And his name, along with his little pet squig, Hangry, is Mogork Ironbrawler. If you want to hear more about his story, I'll probably make a video on that, because I think the story I've made for him is quite cool. Next up, we got old Gruck. Old Gruck Face Ripper. Well, not quite actually. His name is Gruck, but his name isn't Face Ripper anymore. It's just Gruck Big Boss. Because the story behind him is that he was a knob in Gruck Face Ripper's Wah, but after that got crushed resoundingly, or I shouldn't say resoundingly, sadly crushed in a battle against some of them Space Marines, he escaped the slaughter that had probably ensued. I don't know much about the Red Wah's fate in terms of how it was destroyed. But he decided that the name Gruck was so badass and so cool that he decided to name himself Gruck. And along with that, he decided to get himself... Whoa, please don't tell me I scratched the paint. As I was saying, he decided to get himself a highly customized power claw in the form of Dakilla Claw, which is why, instead of it being blue or orange with the rest of my paint scheme, it's crimson red, because I've decided that he needs something more unique than just a red, blue and orange power claw. Plus, it also reflects well on the tabletop, because I always run him with the power claw, or the killer claw. And, well, to add a little bit of lore, nobody actually really knows how he got the killer claw. Some orcs believe that what he did was he went to Orkimedes, the orc Big Mech who created the killer claw, and just beat the living hell out of him and just took the killer claw. But others simply say he went over to Orkimedes with a bunch of demon blades and asked Orkimedes to bash a claw out of them for him. And no orc is able to really figure out who is right and who is wrong. But there is a hunch that apparently there are 2 killer claws in the universe. So it is possible that he didn't steal a killer claw from Orkimedes. Moving on, we have this boy at the back here, Gorcas Khan. He has no lore fitted out for him just yet, but I still think he looks cool regardless. He does look exactly the same as Mogork over there behind the 2 bosses. The main difference you will find, obviously, is, well, the paint job, and also the head. In place of the now missing Assault on Black Reach head, which had been donated to old School Gaz, they gave him a head from one of the Black Orcs from Blood Bowl, which is why I call him Khan, because he kind of looks a little like a Khan with the face mask on for some reason. I don't know why. It's just where my mind went. Yeah, but he sadly doesn't have any lore about him, and he's in the usual blue and orange paint scheme of my army. And I didn't highlight the tusks because I thought that they looked much better unhighlighted for him instead of in the usual dry highlight that I use for most of the bones and skulls on my models. And last, but by no means least, we have Scrack Squigchucka, named so because, if you can guess, he's throwing a squig at whatever poor sap is in his way. And that's his favorite hobby, really. He loves sitting back and watching people bat at the little squig he throws at them before their faces either get bitten off or they manage to kill the squig, and then he has to cut their heads off with the big chopper. And out of all these war bosses, he would be the most converted because he is the metal boss from the I can't remember which kit it's called, but he's got the metal arm, this metal squig arm, and the metal body from the Ork Warboss in metal that had the horned helmet. And this head right here is from the still being sold Metal Warboss on Games Workshop's website. And this guy, he's pretty special because he was a nice little gift I had received during a COVID lockdown by one of the members of the 40k Ork community, mostly Zen, aka Tom Zimbardo. So thank you very much, Tom, for giving me a sweet little war boss in a time of when I was feeling very sick. And, well, no, I'm not going to say on the verge of dying, because I came nowhere close to that. But, yeah, I think the paint job on him looks very cool. He's the only war boss to actually have an orange shirt instead of a blue one. All the other ones have blue shirts instead of orange ones. Because I felt like he needed to have a bit more of a special paint job, since he was a very special gift. And if you are able to tell, he has a couple scenery bits on his base. Most importantly, a dead Imperial fist lies slain at his feet, as well as the door hatch of a exploded rhino or something. And of course, we gotta have a tactical rock in there, because every character needs a tactical rock to stand on. And not wanting to have him missing all other melee weapon options, I decided to plant a big chop on his base to work as a melee weapon of choice for him. And the shooter arm was a very simple conversion of taking two knob arms. One was holding a chopper, the other with the combi rocket weapon. With a little bit of chopping and a little bit of eventually gluing and having to pin it, I got a Warboss arm with a combi rocket. And there is no trigger, because instead of having a trigger, he just pulls down on the little lever, and both profiles will fire. He'll fire both his rockets and the shooter, because that's the proper Orky way. Getting loads and loads of dakka. And the boss poles, they were just a few poles from other kits I had lying around spare. But with that, go ahead and put him back right there. With that, well, that's everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I know that I just recently posted a video. Well, guess what? You get two now, because I love spoiling you all. And sorry if I'm sounding a little sick. I'm still recovering from the second time having COVID. But list in the comments below which Warboss you think is your favorite. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and ring the little bell icon for a notification of whenever one of these videos comes out. At least on the rare occasion that they come out. But till then, I'll see you later, you gits.